Welcome to the Winning Edge Investments Podcast. Winning Edge Investments provides industry-leading horse racing and sports betting tips, ratings and education, enabling you to invest intelligently and treat your betting like a business. Go to www.winningedgeinvestments.com to learn more about how you can start to supercharge your betting bank immediately. Treat your betting like a business and invest intelligently with Winning Edge Investments.
Today on the Winning Edge podcast, we're joined by leading New Zealand trainer Jamie Richards, who heads up the star-studded Te Akau Racing team. G'day, Jamie. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Nice to have you on the show. Firstly, tell us about your journey in racing. Where did it all begin for you?
So it started for me as a young fella. My dad was a jockey in the South Island of New Zealand, and then he was sort of breaking in and pre-training and training. Once he sort of finished riding, he concentrated on the training side of things. So I was sort of brought up within it in the game. Was quite keen to be a jockey, but then sort of got too big, and Mum and Dad weren't that keen for me to leave school. So I went off and got a bit of an education at the University of Otago. I was lucky enough to get a bit of a scholarship to do some travelling. Spent some time at Cornwall Island, a bit of time in England and Cheveley Park, and spent a bit of time at Taylor Made in the States. And then I came home, spent a little bit of time with New Zealand Bloodstock, and spent a bit of time with Waikato Stud. But ultimately, after the travelling and a few different sort of work experiences, I decided that racing was my passion, and took up a job as David Ellis's racing manager. And after a couple of years doing that, was promoted to sort of a junior partner, and been training in my own right for the last 5 or 6 years, I think. So that's a bit of a crash course on how it all went.
Yep. Tell us about Tiako Mate. It's a pretty big operation, very successful. Must be a privilege to work there.
Yeah, for sure. So David and Karen and Mark Walker up in Singapore are fantastic to work for. We've had a lot of success, and I think the main reason for our success has been the type of horses that the boss has been able to buy. We put a lot of emphasis on, pretty much for us, the winning post is in the sale ring. If we don't buy the right horses to syndicate amongst Te Akau's clients, then it makes it very hard to have the results on the track. So, it's a great team. We've got a great team of people. David's put a lot of emphasis on surrounding me with good quality staff and people that are young up and coming guys, and people that are also trained in their own right, that have got a lot of experience. So good people and good horses. I think that's probably a couple of the key things about Te Akau. Very good place to work.
And now you're off to train in Hong Kong from next year. Tell us how that came about.
So that sort of started partway through the year. I think in June I got my first call from the chief steward up there, Mr. Kelly, and then had a sort of an interviewing process and CV and some personality tests and all of those sorts of things that you can do on the internet. And had a couple of Zooms with Winifred, obviously the big boss up there in Hong Kong, and Andrew Harding and Bill Nader and Mr. Kelly and Terry Bailey, Mr. Bailey. There was a sort of a pretty drawn out sort of process, but it's an incredible opportunity to be licensed up there, and can't thank the Hong Kong Jockey Club and the licensing committee for the opportunity to move up there next year.
Yep, it's a real pinnacle to train over there for trainers. Was it always a dream of yours as well? Or?
Yeah, so we went up there about 4 years ago. Danny Ralston, who's the bloodstock manager at New Zealand Bloodstock, took me up, and we had a bit of a look around and met some of the guys, and went to Sharton and went to Happy Valley while the international sale was on, and it's sort of just continued to come along from there, I guess. But yeah, as you say, it's a extremely competitive environment up there. Great trainers, great horses, great jockeys, and something that's going to be a real challenge, probably a bit of a culture shock as well, as we learn how to do all of that side of it properly, communicate with clients and get new owners, and then hopefully import some really nice horses. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
It's obviously great for training in general in New Zealand to have a trainer go over there. Do you feel it will inspire others to chase that type of dream?
I think a few of the other trainers in New Zealand would be quite happy that I'm going. But also...
Have many actually gone over there to train in New Zealand, or...?
Paul O'Sullivan has,
Yeah.
and he's training up there at the moment. He's been up there for some time, and he won the Derby. He had a very good sprinter called Aero Velocity, so hopefully we can go up there and enjoy a bit of success. But yeah, there's some good young people coming through the industry in New Zealand, and obviously we're looking forward to welcoming Mark Walker back into the fray with Te Akau in New Zealand. He's been champion trainer 9 times between New Zealand and Singapore, and really looking forward to having him back in the next couple of months before I depart.
Yep. And you've obviously had a lot of success bringing horses from New Zealand to Australia. Does that travelling aspect sort of help in transitioning to Hong Kong?
I think it does, particularly if you've been able to show that you can operate sort of dual site sort of stables with the emergence of Chongfa, which is over the border in mainland China. I think that's going to be an incredibly important part of the future landscape there in Hong Kong, and the facilities that they've got there are absolutely amazing. So certainly looking forward to working out with Chongfa at the racecourse there. But I think Australia's something that we really strive for. Obviously the prize money is terrific, and we enjoy the challenge of going over there and trying to compete. So you've got to identify the right horses and take them and obviously have them trained to the minute and have good people and good systems. And we've built good relationships up with people in Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane, and we've always got a home for them if we want to travel them over there, which is really important.
Obviously had a lot of success here. What was your most memorable win in Australia?
I think probably the most memorable day for us would be when Te Akau Shark and Probabile won the 2 Group 1s half an hour apart at Randwick there. I think it was the Surround and the Chipping Norton, I think. So they were, that was a pretty incredible day, really. 2 runners and 2 Group 1s. So I think that'd certainly be the highlight.
Did you actually consider coming over to Australia to train full time, or?
Yeah, we've sort of been looking at sort of trying to set up a base in Australia for some time, but obviously the effects of COVID and the strain that puts on travelling has been incredibly difficult to set that up. Like, I haven't been to Australia very much at all when our horses have been there, so we've been relying heavily upon the people in our team to look after them. But if you're trying to set up a stable of, say, 20 or 30 horses in Sydney, very, very hard to do that if you can't get over there. So it's certainly something that we've been looking at, and I'm sure that Dave and Mark will continue to look at, because we're only a short trip away via plane for the horses, and if you take over the right horse, you certainly can be competitive, and the prize money is very lucrative.
Yep, and just on that, you've got Bright Blue Sky in Queensland for the Magic Millions 2-year-old Classic. Will she continue on to that race, do you think?
Yeah, I think we will. We're just a little bit, just a little bit disappointed or confused why she sort of didn't really get into the race at all last time. She was a bit slow away and then ended up back on a hot speed, but her closing sectionals would have been quite encouraging. So we'll just play around with her, try and get her out of the barriers a little bit better, and get her up on her toes. And as a few people have said, everybody would love to be settling Coolangatta, but hopefully, a filly like Bright Blue Sky can continue to improve, and I'm sure that she will when she turns up there on Magic Millions Day on the 15th.
And she's obviously been a horse you've had a lot of time for. She started $1.40 on debut at T Rapa and won easily. When did this race come on the radar for you?
We've sort of had it in the back of our mind. At some stage we'd like to try and find something that's good enough to go back across, and we thought this filly, the way that she won on debut, was and probably just a little bit disappointing the other day, but I think we're there now. $2 million race, we've got to crack on, and I think if she improves, which she will, then she can certainly be part of the finish, hopefully.
Is beyond 1,200 metres her best trip, do you think, or?
I think it could be. Fastnet Rocks usually get out a little bit further. So yeah, we'll just keep her nice and fresh and sharp for the 1,200 and see how we get on.
Has she definitely got a spot in the race? Has she got enough prize money?
She's got about 50 grand, which sort of 6 of the past 8 years that would have been enough to get us in. So we're not going to run her again. Just don't think that's the right thing to do. So yeah, we're confident that should be enough money to get her in the race.
What does she do for the next 2 weeks? Just tick her over?
Just tick her over. She'll have a couple of good strong hit-outs at the Gold Coast there. She's stable there with Ashley Henley. So, yeah, we might sneak her away for a little gallop somewhere, but we'll just sort of assess her fitness levels. But she's had a pretty quiet week this week, and she'll start to crank up a bit more again next week.
And Jimmy Byrne, does he stay on, or you rider?
We're just sort of working through the options there for riders at this stage. Tommy was supposed to come down and ride her, but he's decided to ride Annabelle's filly, which is understandable. So we're just working through that process at the moment.
Yep. It was a soft 6 on Saturday, I think, Boxing Day. What's the most suitable track surface? Do you think? Do you want it dry or?
Yeah, I think she certainly wants better ground. Most fastnet rocks like it pretty firm. So hopefully we can see a race on a nice good track there at the Gold Coast. I think that might have been one of the mitigating factors which sort of didn't see a race as well as what we thought she might.
Yep. Yeah, it's been pissing down here the last few weeks, so fingers crossed that changes.
Yeah, so hopefully they're on good ground.
Yep. And she wears visors and she's worked in blinkers. Are they up your sleeve for the big race, or?
Yeah, she'll have the proper blinkers on race day. So they'll certainly be going on, and we'll just sort of play around with her and see how it's all going to look over the next couple of weeks.
How much confidence have you got that she can beat Coolangatta?
Oh, look, Coolangatta's going to start really short. She seems to be the ultimate professional, jumps, puts herself in the race, and is hard to run down. So going to be a big ask for her, but if she can sort of get out of the barriers and get a position in the race, we think she can be in the finish.
All right, mate. You had a good day earlier in the week at Ellerslie with the Group 2 wins to Belle and Rouge and listed winter on the bubbles. Where do they go next?
Belle and Rouge has been busy. She's done a bit of racing and a bit of travelling, so she's just having a quiet week out the paddock. She probably won't run again till sort of middle of February. She'll run in the Bosses race, the David Ellis and Karen Fenton Ellis Fillies Classic at Te Rapa, on the way hopefully to the Oaks. And on the bubbles, he'll go to the Karaka Mile on the 22nd of January. He'll have a little trial 10 days before then, but we're not going to run him again. He seems to be in good shape after a quiet week as well.
Big day at Ellerslie tomorrow again. You've got I'd choose you. I know she's on for the Magic Millions 2-year-old race as well. Is that on the radar still, or?
No, I think we'll get her ready for the Matamata Breeders' Stakes and then the Group 1s here in New Zealand. She's a filly we've got a lot of time for. She's worked well this week. Obviously, Wolverine's been the benchmark in terms of the 2-year-olds over here so far. But she does seem to be going well at home, and we're certainly looking forward to seeing how she runs tomorrow.
And you've also got a couple of other runners, most notably on Treville in the railway. She was awesome in Sydney, or consistent in Sydney. We're pretty happy with how she went here.
Yeah, we were really happy with how it all played out to the last run. Tommy just got it wrong that day, unfortunately, and she sat deep and over-raced and just spent too much petrol, but she stuck at it and finished a very close fourth. So she's a very good mare. We've been happy with her since she's been home. She's had a trial and an exhibition gallop. We think that she's forward enough to be competitive, and she's done some nice work during the week. So really looking forward to seeing her back tomorrow.
And you've also got Mai Tai in the mile race.
Yeah, she's in the Rich Hill. She's going well. Her form is only okay, but she just didn't have a great week leading into her last run. She's certainly in a lot better shape this week. She's got a nice lightweight because of the handicap conditions, but she has drawn an awful barrier, so she's going to need a fair bit of luck. But if she gets the breaks, she's a chance. It is a nice race. Gold Watch looks very hard to beat. And
you've got 3 in the 3-year-old fillies race over 2,000 metres. What's your best there?
I don't think there's much between them. Outfit and Self Obsession both won their maiden last time over a mile, and Trieste ran second. They're fillies that we've taken along quietly that are sort of looking to get out and trip now. So if I had to put one on top, I'd probably put Outfit on top. She showed a really good turn of foot to win at Te Rapa last time, and she's got a really good pedigree as well.
All right, and best of the day out of those 6?
Hopefully on Treville. I think a couple of people have asked me the same question, so we'll stick with that.
All right, and what's the latest on Probabile?
Probabeel's in good shape. She's going to trial here at Matamata on the 12th, and then she'll be coming back across to Australia. She's just going to follow a similar program. She'll kick off on the Jeffrey Belle main again, go to the Futurity, and then to the All-Star Mile, where hopefully we can see her run on a decent track. We've just been a little bit unlucky with her with wet tracks, but hopefully in the autumn we can have a little bit more luck.
And anything else which you've got earmarked for the Sydney autumn?
Karma Lass will come back across with Probabile. She won a group race there at Caulfield. She'll probably kick off in the same race as Probabile, the Jeffrey Belle main, and then we'll just keep it as sort of 1400 metre races. And in terms for Sydney, we'll just sort of see how some of the 3-year-olds go for the next couple of months here. We've got a filly called the Perfect Pink that won the 1,000 Guineas, who we really like. She's on an Oaks path here in New Zealand and could come across. But we'll just sort of see how the next couple of months go before we get too far ahead of ourselves there.
All right, Jamie, awesome, mate. Well, thanks for the update. Thanks for joining us, and good luck in the next phase of your training career in Hong Kong. Wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
At Winning Edge Investments, our team of highly skilled expert analysts and full-time professional punters review the data, crunch the figures, assess the best betting opportunities, and deliver them to your phone via our app and your email inbox in real time so you profit. Go to www.winningedgeinvestments.com, look at our membership options, make your choice, and enter the promo code PODCAST to receive a special 25% discount on your first membership just for listening. That's PODCAST in capital letters for a 25% ongoing discount on your first membership. Treat your betting like a business and invest intelligently with Winning Edge Investments.